Okay, Chair, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Malia. Aloha mai kako. Thanks for joining us. Today is our FestPAC Commission meeting for March 14th, 2022. Want to go ahead and start with our call to order. So I will call the meeting to order at 3:03 p.m. today. I'm going to go ahead and ask for our roll call, which I will do. We don't have any members of the public in attendance at the public meeting location. So I want to note that for the record at the top. Chair is present and alone. Commissioner Ani Benham.
I am present and alone as well.
Commissioner Bento is excused and may join us late. Commissioner De Silva.
I am present and just me here.
Thank you. Commissioner Hussey is excused. Commissioner Keokalole.
Present and alone.
Thank you. Commissioner Lum is excused for today. Commissioner Onishi is also excused today. Commissioner Pu'u.
Aloha, present and alone.
Mahalo, everyone. That is our roll call and attendance. I'd like to turn it over to our festival director, Aaron, for our vehena today.
Hala wai anai mola lei kala la panoa ke kula o ku mano kunihi ka noho mau na lahi lahi ho maha kui ka wai o lua lei. Lei ana nui ke kamakahala I pau ku ia me ka ahihi I hohi no I au na hoi oi o ko ukule ana pa no ia he ke hao le helulu lima e te aloha e ai. E ia o ke kilohana ke kona na kamali e huli ana o kohala I mau I nei e nana ni kamakani helau aba o waipi o wai manu. Helu aku ana pu'ua pele ai o pu'u wa'awa o pu'u anu hulu o pili no me kalahi ki ola. I ke ka moku nui la o Hawaii. Ke kau nei o Hawaii I luna mehelu kala kalale oni ke po o kai ngā pele kula ka mahale hua ha aku kele kula. Nui ta uala ai o I kua ka malama e. Hei ke haole, helulu lima e te aloha e ai. Hei ke Hawaii, he honi no te aloha e, aloha e, aloha e ai. Aloha.
Thank you, Director.
Aloha.
Aloha. I've never heard the second half of that before. That's the
Yeah,
first
you
time.
know, in the interest of time, I thought I would just chant it. I was going to share the whole genealogy of it, maybe another time, but yeah, it's a beautiful mele. Isabella Haleala Kaili Deshe.
Okay. Mahalo. I'm going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 2, public testimony. If there are any members of the public who'd like to testify, please go ahead and unmute yourself and turn on your video. Again, noting for the record that there are no members of the public present at the public location of this meeting. Going once, twice, 3 times. Mahalo. I'm going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 3, where I would entertain a motion to adopt our is it our January 10th minutes? No, it's our February minutes.
February 14th, Chair.
I'm sorry.
February 14th minutes, Chair.
Thank you, thank you. The February 14th minutes.
So moved.
Been moved. Do I have a second?
Second, De Silva.
Thank you. So moved by Commissioner Benham, seconded by Commissioner De Silva. We're in discussion, members. Any discussion? Any changes? Typos? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call for the question and let us adopt the minutes as unamended. Chair votes aye. Commissioner Benham.
Aye.
Commissioner De Silva.
Aye.
Commissioner Keokalole.
Aye.
Commissioner Pu'u.
Aye.
Mahalo. We have adopted our minutes of our February 14th meeting. Okay, moving on to permitted interactions pursuant to Act 103, Session Laws of Hawaii 2021. I do want to report that the admin committee did meet on February 28th at 3 p.m. and we will cover the contents of that meeting in agenda item number 5 today. Are there any other permitted interactions that need to be reported? Awesome, hearing none. I'm going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 5, presentation, discussion, and action regarding the administrative committee and an update from Commissioner Benham. But before I do that, I did want to just sort of reaffirm and clarify for everyone that as of our last meeting, we're going to go ahead and sort of merged the subject matter that committee involves. And I just want to be really clear that it'll have all the administrative functions that it did before, and that we're clarifying that fund development or fundraising is also under the purview of the administration or administrative committee. I'd also like to clarify that we've made changes to the membership of that committee. And the 4 commissioners that are participating in the administrative committee are Commissioner Benham, myself, Commissioner Hussey, and Commissioner Kehokalole. And so with that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Benham to give a report from our 2/28 meeting.
Mahalo, Chair. I am going to be very quick because much of the content of my report will be actually reported out in the Festival Director's Report, which will be following this. Just to let you know that he brought the committee up to date with the website. And he'll talk a little bit more about the website, the platform itself, the temporary page that will be put up there, and how we're going to be working with a group of students to actually develop our new, more interactive 21st century website, right, Erin? Also, the festival director updated the campus about the NAHA contract with HTA, answered some questions for us, some clarity questions, and their role in actually providing a professional conference organizer training, and how that would benefit our FestPAC staff, and the work that our FestPAC staff will have to do to implement, to go forward and do the work that they need to do on the FestPAC conference. And finally, we had a conversation about some potential friend and fundraising opportunities coming up in July of this year. And that conversation, I will also ask the festival director, Salah, to to target a bit more in his minutes, his report with us, because there are some points of discussion and decisions that will need to be made by us as a group. You can see my very brief report as part of your materials that you received. If there are any questions, I'm more than happy to respond to them, or to wait until the festival director gives his report.
Commissioner Benham. Members, any questions? Okay, I'm seeing negative head nods. We'll go ahead and move on to agenda item number 6, which is a presentation, discussion, and action regarding the Venues Committee update. In similar fashion, I would like to clarify that the Venues Committee is under its purview adopting programming as part of its scope. And so venues and programming are obviously very intertwined. As we clarify what programs we'll be offering, we need to ensure that we have the appropriate venues to handle that programming. So pursuant to our last meeting, that was clear. I'd also like to clarify that Commissioner Lum, Commissioner Pu'u, Commissioner Onishi, and Commissioner Bento are the 4 commissioners serving on the Venues Committee, and it will be led by Commissioner Lum. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't miss meetings. I'm just kidding. She had already agreed to it before this meeting, for the record. And as one of the senior members of the committee that's been engaged from the beginning, she was happy to take on that kuleana. So we're grateful to Commissioner Lum for leading the charge on the Venues and Programming Committee. Does anyone have any questions on that? That was the main item for today for this committee. Okay. I will go ahead and move on. We are on agenda item number 7, members, for presentation and discussion regarding the Festival Director Report. Erin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Let me start with, I will respond to many of the things that Commissioner Benham spoke to earlier. So let me start with the administrative and infrastructure pieces of the work that we've been doing, specifically with the FestPAC 2024 website. So Strategies 360 and NAHA are in communication regarding the sunsetting of the current website. That should happen actually post haste sometime soon, by the end of day tomorrow. Again, we'll go to a landing page that NAHA will establish, inclusive of the festival's fundamental details as we work through the redesign of the festival website proper. By fundamental details, I really just mean the website will be up and running again soon. The dates and an info email to inquire of with any questions. My current timeline for the website relaunch is the 1st of June 2022. This is not tied to anything in particular. My goal here is to stay dormant on the website for as short a time as possible. And so the 1st of June affords us just a little over 60 days for that redesign, redevelopment, and relaunch. Likewise, I'm working internally on an updated social media strategy. In addition to the current social media assets we have on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I'm hoping to also onboard TikTok and LinkedIn accounts. LinkedIn, especially as we start to integrate a more robust fundraising strategy. In terms of robust fundraising strategies, I did meet with Dave Moss, Executive Director of the Hawaii Symphony Orchestra, Hanalea Ka'anapu, CEO of Haka Entertainment, and Alan Yamamoto, producer and former radio executive on the 10th of this month to discuss this Waikiki Shell event on July 2nd. And so I socialized this event at the last meeting and talked a little bit more in detail with the administrative committee on this a few weeks ago. A suggestion was made that we might consider a Friday and Saturday event where Friday evening would be a VIP special invite and Saturday would be ticketed to the public. This does not, again, this will not cost us anything. And the goal of these is, first of all, to socialize FestPAC for the public and also to really start to jump into the need for our fundraising efforts. So I'll talk a little bit about this 1st and 2nd July potential. So in the administrative meeting, one of the responses was, it sounds a little too good to be true. And in our meeting, as a sort of producer, group of producers, and Dave Moss, Hanalea Ka'anapu, and Alan Yamamoto, really, the symphony already has the shell for this weekend, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And there was an opportunity to partner with Hanalea Ka'anapu's Moonlight Mele, which is something that he started during COVID. And so they both talked about the potential for partnering in and of themselves, and then this opportunity to use the festival as a way, use this event as a way to bring knowledge about the festival to the greater public. And so originally we had talked about this July 2nd event, ticketed, the potential for a makeke, and you know, just things that would bring the public to Waikiki Shell to talk about the festival. In that meeting, Dave and Hanalea also talked about the potential for a VIP event, invited event on July 1st, where we could invite hoteliers, restaurateurs, bankers, etc., to talk about how important this festival is for our community and for the Pacific. So all that to say that my goal here is to assure that this is not a burdensome on the festival, me as well, and that our goal really is to socialize the festival and to begin a really robust fundraising strategy using these events. So I'll entertain, let me finish and I'll entertain questions about this. In addition to that development on the above, once we can finalize the festival village and auxiliary venues, I'll update the FestPAC 2024 budget for commission review and approval. I was really hoping that we could do that, that I would be able to present the budget today. It's not ready. So planning for this to be presented at the April meeting, really at the latest. Once that budget is approved, we can move forward on proper tier design and strategy around fundraising needs. In terms of continued fundraising, efforts around the Manny Chrysostoma exhibit titled Pacific Gathering, Photographs and Treasures from the Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture, Guam 2016, is to be hosted by the East-West Center, and those conversations are ongoing. My goal here is to assure that everything done in community around the upcoming or previous festivals of the Pacific Arts and Culture help us to point toward our hosting in 2024. And to that end, then I continue to meet with the Arts Program Coordinator, Eric Chang, and Regional Engagement and Development Officer, James Perez Viernes from East West Center. My next meeting with them is tomorrow. On that effort. My conversations with Jonathan Johnson at the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts and Mary Hattori at the East West Center are ongoing. Once these fundamental pieces of the festival are in place, the ability to more integrally bring in all of these friends in order to staff the festival and start to pull together all the sort of tactical needs for the festival will be much more facilitated. I can't wait for that. Likewise, I want to acknowledge again Kuhio Lewis and his team at Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, who continue to offer their assistance toward the execution of a successful festival as well. Our big piece right now that we really need to make some decisions on is moving forward on the festival village and auxiliary venues. So Commissioner Lum and I have been in contact and in correspondence. She takes the helm of the Festival Venues and Programming Committee. I've asked that we commence a standing committee meeting to finalize venues and programming plans for 2024 and in preparation for the next CPAC and ministers meetings in April. Commissioner De Silva and I met on March 8th at the University of Hawaii at Manoa campus to discuss the potential layout for the festival village proper. I'm now awaiting measurements based on that conversation and drawings for McCarthy Mall and Legacy Path to be furnished by President Lassner's office. Hopefully by midweek, I'll get these in my hand. By April's meeting, we will have a schematic drawn up prepared for the commission to review a festival village. And in addition to the festival's main village, I would implore again this committee to consider the potential auxiliary venues necessary as we move forward to solidifying FestPAC programming. So ultimately, mahalo again, Chair, for pushing. Ultimately, once we get Festival Village set and have decided through this committee on the auxiliary venues, that will facilitate my ability to bring together a more updated and realistic budget for us to talk through and to hopefully garner the commission's approval on, and then we can get a real development strategy in place that I will tie our social media strategy to, as well as the re-enlivening of the website proper. And that will wrap my festival director's report for today.
Awesome.
I will take
just for the record, I want to share that Commissioner Bento has joined us in the meeting at 3:21 p.m. today. For the record, so Commissioner Bento, aloha and welcome.
Ai, mahalo.
So members, questions for Festival Director Salah? Go ahead, Commissioner Keokalole.
Yeah, thank you. So the McCarthy Mall, I think is the spot. You know, there was an initial question about the space and then also the potential utilization of the amphitheater. Can you provide a little more detail on that, if there is any?
Sure. So in our walkthrough this past week, Commissioner De Silva and I talked about usage of McCarthy Mall as well as Legacy Path. So Legacy Path is that pathway between the parking structure Dole and the middle of campus, and then McCarthy Mall is the main mall between Student Services and Varney Circle and Hamilton Library. So again, for anybody not familiar with the campus, I will be preparing a schematic for next meeting. If I'm being and Antimapo, please, feel free to jump in. So the space is premium at both these areas of campus. McCarthy Mall probably makes good sense for the main festival village. Again, fitting 28 delegations there is going to be a premium. And then the usage of Legacy Path for the sort of main auxiliary, is that an oxymoron? The main auxiliary pieces of oh, thank you, Chair.
All right, I figured
what
we
you
could
look-
keep talking. Yeah, this is the mall.
Yeah, mahalo,
Parking lot.
mahalo nui. So what you see there where it says the mall is McCarthy Mall. To the left, you see Varney Circle. So that area under the mall will be the main festival village per the commission's current thinking. And then again, my goal is to have a schematic written, drawn out by next meeting. I'm meeting with the president's office this week again. In addition to McCarthy Mall, we'll be using Legacy Path, which is where you see Correa Road there. That's Legacy Path. The current thinking with Commissioner De Silva was that inside of Legacy Path would include the Lomi tent, the main featherworking, all of the sort of fiber arts activities would happen there. And then to the left of Correa Road is Andrews Amphitheater, so that can be used as a main performance venue. And so there is a way for us to be inclusive of all the sort of festival proper pieces that can be hosted by Manoa. Again, space is a premium, and we won't be able to do everything there. I'm gonna, Auntie Mapu, you wanna chime in on this at all?
No, I think you did a good job. Jared, do you have any other questions or curiosities about the discussion that Aaron and I had?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, my biggest concern is being able to have enough space for all the people who are going to come. And there are other concerns, but we'll bring them up later.
Yeah, no, I thank you. And I do want to create some space for the committee to do their due diligence in the committee work and then bring some of those questions and solutions to this bigger body.
Right. And so just as a wrap up to that, and Commissioner Kehokalole, to your question, what I'm working on now is not just a schematic, it's really looking at the measurements of both, of these areas, McCarthy Mall, Legacy Path, and Andrews. And so what we'll do is build a schematic real to scale so that you can see, so that the commission can see what the necessities are and the usage of this space. Obviously, we'll have to work on, whatever power needs, et cetera, for the festival village proper. But I'm hoping that with Commissioner Lum's help and the venues and programming committee starting to meet on a regular basis, we'll be able to wrap this up fairly quickly.
Commissioner Benham.
Yeah, I just wanted to also on another topic area. This is the fund and fundraising event in July at the Waikiki Show. I failed to mention that the commissioners were very supportive of this idea after we got through the, oh, this is too good to be true conversation. Sorry you weren't there, Commissioner Kehokalole, and I'm sure you would have been in that conversation as well. But we did ask Festival Director Salah to gather more information and bring it back to us. So I'm assuming that that's exactly what you're in the process of doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Other members, questions for Director Salah? I'll be honest, I'll share my mana'o too. When Aaron brought the opportunities to our attention in the admin committee, I had this very puzzled look on my face because, quite frankly, as a community organizer and somebody that's done that, I've never been approached in that way to say, hey, we really believe in what you're doing. We'd like to support you. And it not entailing an enormous amount of work or planning, but just true kahiao. And so I just want to mahalo the partners that have offered that kind of support because, quite frankly, it doesn't come often.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Chair. And let me just, again, huge mahalo to Dave Moss, because the symphony already has the shell that weekend. And it was really him coming and saying, how can we help the Festival of Possession, which is so like, that was, left field. So I'm really thankful to Dave for this foresight and his desire that the symphony really, becomes a community partner in all of this. So mahalo nui.
All right, last call of members for questions for Director Salah. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 8 today, which is a presentation, discussion, and/or action regarding the 35th Council of Pacific Arts and Culture meeting to be held soon. I just want to update you folks that I met with Director Salah as well as Monty, who continues to be our liaison with the SPC in planning for and preparing for what will be Hawaii's presentation on that agenda to update the members of the CPAC on our planning progress. And so Commissioner De Silva wears 2 hats. I'm the chair of this particular group, but she happens to be on our behalf the chair of the CPAC. And so she'll be working with the SPC staff in preparing for the meeting in its entirety, which includes the Pacific Regional Cultural Strategy, as well as those other agenda items. And then Aaron will be representing Hawaii on our behalf to the CPAC. Did I get that right?
I think Monty's going to represent us for CPAC,
Oh,
and
then
Aaron's going to represent us for the ministers' meeting. So there's 2 sets of meetings
Got it.
that are going to happen. One the week before Merry Monarch, and the other the week after Merry Monarch. And I am chairing both. I'm crazy, I know, but
Gonna say.
now the SPC is really good at preparing me for my role and duties to be able to fulfill them and with intelligence. So that's why I can do it. If anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer them.
If I'm not mistaken, the meeting of the ministers is the 6th meeting of ministers, if I'm not mistaken, and 35th CPAC.
Okay, 6, okay.
Yep. They will be held virtually. That's just another item. They're not in person, and so nobody will be traveling. Any questions on that, members? Okay, that's the update that I had for you folks regarding the CPAC. Again, it's our opportunity to check in and present our progress and our planning to the members that hopefully will participate in the festival for us, or with us rather. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 9. Any members of the public wishing to testify on today's agenda items, please go ahead and unmute yourself or turn on your video. And I haven't received any word that there is anyone that has arrived to the public meeting location. So no one's there in person that would like to testify. Going once, 2 times, 3 times. That is agenda item number 9. Moving on to agenda item number 10. Members, any announcements? Okay. Moving on, our next meeting is scheduled for April 11th and at 3 p.m. as usual. So please go ahead and mark your calendars. I want to thank you for your time today, but that is our next meeting. And if I can get a motion without objection to adjourn, please signal with a raised hand. All right, I think we got it. Members, public, thank you so much for joining us for today's meeting. I will adjourn today's meeting at 3:31 p.m. Mahalo nui. Take care and be well.
You're good, Kalani.